The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power, the place to bet on football in play with a huge special every weekend.
Hi there, it's Thursday, so it is Racing Post Football Postcast Day, and I'm Bruce Millington, and the panel consists of Mark Langdon, James Milton, and from Paddy Power, Ed Quigley. We're going to look back on the cup action that took place over the last 6 days. We'll have a little look at African nations, and most of all, we'll be focusing on a really, truly fascinating weekend as the Premier League returns. We'll kick off those 6 questions, 2 each, and then they get the chance to answer the one they wish they'd been asked. So, Mark Langdon, we'll start with you. How excited were you by the third round of the FA Cup?
Next. Yeah, it was terrible, wasn't it?
It was really bad. It looked bad on paper, but the reality was even worse, wasn't it?
The TV companies didn't help by picking such an uninspiring set of fixtures. I know that it wasn't the easiest.
They were dealt a shocking hand. What would you like to have seen?
I would have liked to have seen. I think you've got to go like Millwall, Bournemouth would have been. You've got to go. The lower league team has to be at home, really. The BBC lot are moaning about Aston Villa as if Aston Villa are a Premier League team. They're a bang average Championship side. So what did they expect of them going to a Tottenham team that was always going to rest 9 or 10 players? They've got the same problem in round 4 because all
it's not good, is it?
How are you going to get 5 or 6 matches out of that? I don't know for TV. I wasn't excited.
Did you see anything that might be of use in anti-post terms?
No, because all the big teams got such easy draws in round 4, didn't they? With the exception of Man City, if they get your boys. But you had to look at it. They're all at home, aren't they? Apart from Arsenal, who potentially got Southampton, although Southampton have now got bigger fish to fry. It's very uninspiring. It doesn't mean it's the end of the FA Cup. I think it's been like this for a number of years now.
They've just been really unlucky, haven't they?
They have, yeah. Sometimes you get good draws and sometimes you don't.
That's true. What can you do about it? James Milton, how excited were you by the first leg of the League Cup semis?
Yeah, they were okay, weren't they? I saw United Hull. It was vaguely interesting. I should declare an interest. I actually had an 80-1 winner on that game.
What? No way.
Secret bet.
No wonder you're quite enthused about it. I thought it was rubbish. Go on, what happened?
Well, I'm not going to mention the firm. One of Paddy Power's rivals did a little special on Mata to score the first goal and Harry Maguire to get the first booking. And I'd fancied both of them. I had a single on Maguire, fancied Mata as well. So I thought it was a sign from above.
Wow!
So I had a tenner on that.
The tenner at 80.
Nice.
You do know he is known as James Secret Bets Milton on the desk.
More so than Phil Aegis, who always reveals that he's just stumbled across his Paddy Power account and found he's got 1,500 quid in there.
James will occasionally. Actually, it's not Phil found $3,000 in his Paddy Power account recently, which pleased everybody on the desk just before Christmas. But James is known as the James Secret Bet Milton. He has loads of bets that he doesn't tell anybody about.
That was a beauty, though. Did you declare the 800 quid to the missus?
I did actually, yeah. Rather naively, yeah.
What, just because you were so excited? You went, whoa! She was like, what happened? You just went, I've just won 800 quid. And oh, shit, I've just declared it all.
If you can't get excited about Man United Hull without a financial interest, then yeah.
I remember once me and Keels had cross doubles in the golf years ago, before mobiles were invented. And we won like 2,700 quid each. And at about 1 o'clock in the morning, Keels rang me on my landline. We were just so excited about it. And obviously Lisa was like, what the hell's that all about? And in order to assuage the fact that she'd been woken up by someone at 1 o'clock, I had to declare that I'd won all that money. So that's a disaster. Thanks, Keels. Okay, so you didn't see it. Well, you obviously loved what you saw in that game. But, I mean... Yep. It put the lid on 6 pretty uninspiring days of cup football, didn't it?
Yeah, it's not been great. Really.
Who's going to qualify, Southampton or Liverpool?
I think Liverpool actually. I still don't really rate Southampton. I think Liverpool with the Anfield faithful roaring them on. I think.
When would Southampton play Arsenal before they play Liverpool? Or is it just after?
The semis are before the FA Cup 4th round weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Righty-ho. One for you, Ed. What was the bookies' best result of the last week? I think I know the answer to this.
It has to be Plymouth versus drawing with Liverpool, because there was a lot of ACCAs obviously building up in the FA Cup over the weekend. Though, to be fair, a few of them got chinned. I mean, Stoke got chinned, Bournemouth got chinned. I don't know, but Liverpool drawing with Plymouth was definitely a decent result,
Because there were 4 shorties on Sunday, weren't
was
there?
4
The other 3 had
shorties,
all obliged,
exactly.
hadn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that saved us a bag full of cash and put us into the green for the day.
Good stuff.
Steve McManaman was berating Plymouth for playing for a
Yeah,
0-0 draw.
I know.
I'm sure Ed wasn't berating him. That's for
That's
sure.
ridiculous, that wasn't
I'm
it?
on Liverpool, so I kind of was, but yeah.
They'll get it done, won't they?
They should
Second
get
leg.
it done, yeah. They should
Always
get it
the
done,
way,
hopefully.
isn't it? Okay, Mark, who do you fancy for what should be called Afro 2017, but isn't, is it?
It's definitely not, no. I've narrowed it down to 3. Senegal and Algeria are in the same group. And also, I thought Mali were the dark horses. But Senegal, I think, should be favourites, actually. And they're not. Second in the market. I mean, they've got Koulibaly, centre-half, Koyate and... in midfield as well with Guy from Everton, and then up front you got Mane, Keita's done very well for Lazio this season, and Moussa Sow up front. So I'll go. Senegal.
Are you doing the preview in the paper tomorrow?
I'm not doing the preview in the paper. I've just looked at it for my own personal.
Are you excited about it?
I'm excited by the prospect of watching games at 4 o'clock in the daytime. I think that's always that's never a bad thing when
Is it just 4 o'clock? Is there like a 4?
There's a 4 and I think it's 4 and 7.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're lucky enough to be able to watch TV while we're working, so those 4 o'clock games are perfect.
Excellent stuff. James Milton. Oh, hang on a sec, my phone's gone dead. Oh, God. What's that? Oh, here we go. What's the best format for the World Cup finals?
I think as it is, really.
Yeah. What do you think of the old 48?
I've too much.
Too much.
I'm going to sound like an old codger here, but yeah, why there's the Radio 4 spoof phone in down the line with some of the guys who did the Far Show. There's one character who calls in, and whatever the issue is, he said, "Why do they have to keep mucking around with it?" And I think I've reached the age when that's pretty much my take on everything.
But don't you think it's nice for more teams to taste the magic of being FA Cup World Cup finalists?
I think certainly the African qualifying is unbelievably harsh. I think they could kind of maybe keep the same number of teams, but have a tweak of the quotas there.
What would you have? More African, less CONCACAF?
Less European, I think.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Ed, before we move on to your final question, give us a quick blast of international football. What do you want to start with, the World Cup or the AFCON?
I'll start with the AFCON there, Bruce. So we've Ivory Coast as favourites. They're 100-30. Senegal are 5-1. Algeria 11-2. Cameroon 15-2. Gabon 17-2. Egypt 9-1. Ghana are also 9-1. And Morocco 12s. Mali 14s. And Tunisia 20s. And then it's Dr. Congo bar. Then 20-1 bar there.
You were the first one to call them Dr.
I think
Congo,
I think it was. I did as a joke, and then Dan Childs, the Postcast regular, just referred to them as.
He did. He did.
He did. He just sort of got them down in his head as like they were called Dr. Congo.
I do hope there is somewhere in the world a doctor called with the surname of Congo. Anyway, what about World Cup 2018?
World Cup 2018, yeah. So Germany are still 11-2 favs, Brazil 6-1, France 7-1. They'd be my fancy. You can get bigger elsewhere in them. Spain 9-1, Argentina 10s, Belgium 14s, Italy 16s, England 25s, Colombia and Holland then are 33s and 33s bar.
Do you want to have a quick crack at that, Mark?
No, I mean I thought that Germany would. I think that they are the one team. Internationally that plays like a Champions League team in terms of the standard. But I would note that Brazil definitely coming back. They've got a lot of players coming through. Neymar, Gabriel Jesus, who's just gone to Man City. Coutinho doing very well for Liverpool. And they've got a manager now that's definitely picked up results. So maybe Brazil are the ones that could sort of become flavour of the month over the next sort of, what is it, 18 months or so.
Righto. James, have you got a fancy for the African or the World Cup?
I think Mark's made a great case for Senegal and Algeria as well. You know, they've got some really talented players in their squad. They've had a couple of slip-ups in World Cup qualifying, but yeah, I'd be interested. I'm basically just taking on Ivory Coast. I think it's still far too short based on reputation, and you know, even when they had their strongest. I hesitate to use the phrase golden generation, but even when they had that, they were never good things in this tournament. I think they're far too short.
Okay. Final question then, Ed Quigley. How many more managers will get sacked this season?
I was just looking at that there, Bruce. I mean, Mazzari's 6-4 favourite at the minute for that market. I actually think no managers to leave might be a decent enough bet at 25-1.
25? That's not bad, is it?
You've Slaven Bilic there is 3-1 second favourite. Claude Puel's 15-2. Moisey at 11-1. Moisey kind of looks like a little bit of value to me there, 11-1. But you've Karanka then at 14s, and then you've Ranieri and Mark Hughes, kind of lads who probably aren't going to get sacked. I mean, Koeman's up probably under a small bit of pressure at Everton too, and we don't know too much about these Iranian owners that have taken over at Everton as well. I mean, Silva, the new lad who just got the job at Hull, is also there 20-1. So, and Clement is 25, and he just got the Swansea job too. So yeah, no manager to leave, probably be worth a few quid at 25s there.
Yeah, I echo that. Mark, which question do you want to tackle?
I'll take that last one about the next manager to leave. There's two I like in that market. One would be Moyes. I wonder if he'll walk away. The situation there, he's already said he's been lied to in terms of the money that was available to him. If they were to say sell Defoe over the next couple of weeks, he may just feel like it's better not to have a relegation on your CV. And I don't think many people would blame him if he kind of walked away and said, well, this wasn't what I was sold as a job. And I also think the Payet news with him refusing to play for Slaven Bilic has turned the heat up big time on Bilic. They've got a massive game against Crystal Palace coming up at the weekend. I get the feeling that it won't take that much for the fans have been pretty okay with him so far, given that the season they've had. I don't think it would take a great deal for them to turn. I mean, Mazzari's obviously struggling a little bit at Watford, but he's got so many injuries. I think that will be respected by the Pozzo family.
What's the story with Payet? Why has he refused?
There was
that little fallout of that.
Yeah, I mean, the man with his ear closest to the West Ham ground, Max Oram on the desk. He knows a few people actually at West Ham through his links to the local rugby club nearby, and he said some weeks ago that there'd been a big row between Payet and Slaven Bilic, and looks like that's the case.
Good heavens, James.
Just on the sack race as well. I wouldn't rule out Karanka, actually. I think Middlesbrough not really impressed this season, not playing great football, not getting great results. And he had that weird thing at the end of last season where there were stories that he'd kind of walked out and whatever. So, you've got the strop on your side as well there. So, but yeah, there's a few managers still under pressure.
Yeah, I like that 25-1. I think. Ed, which question would you like to answer?
Yeah, I'll take the African Nations Cup.
Are you a bit of a specialist on this?
Well, I did most of the outrights alright for Powers. Myself and another lad worked on it on the team, and we put in ratings for all the teams. And you won't get the value with us on Algeria, but we're 11-2. But we make them about a 6-1 shot. And there's 8s with one firm, but there's 7s widely available. Yeah, I mean, just to touch on what James said actually there about the African teams qualifying for the World Cup. Algeria are in a pretty sticky situation in terms of qualifying for that, but they do have a quality team. I mean, they've got Mahrez, Brahimi, Slimani, Bentaleb, Guidior is a decent player. I mean, I was going through all the squads. I don't think any team is a decent goalkeeper. Most teams have a pretty poor defence, with the exception of Ivory Coast. So yeah, I'd definitely be tipping up Algeria, and I can't naysay Senegal either. A lot of the office are quite sweet on them too.
Have you got any betting on player of the tournament?
No, there's no player tournament than that.
You know where I'm going with that one, don't
top
you?
Goal scorer now, to be fair.
You could maybe buy his step overs, Bruce.
Wilf.
Buy his step overs.
It'd be great out there. This will be the making of him, honestly. Right, okay, that was the 6 questions, and in a minute we'll come back and we'll look at Tottenham versus West Brom, which kicks off the Premier League weekend.
Get instant access to your winnings with Cashcard Plus, Paddy's brand new card, available to use at ATMs, online or in shops. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Okay, let's get stuck into the weekend Premier League action. There's 4 live games, and the first of them is at 12:30 on Saturday. Tottenham versus West Brom. Tottenham are going to be short price here, Ed. Whether they're too short, the experts will have their say in just a mo, but how short are they?
Yeah, so Spurs are 1-3, the draw is 4-1, and West Brom are 9-1.
Okay, we'll stick with you, Ed. What's going to happen? Is Tottenham not the sort of 1-3 shot you really want to lay into, are they?
Yeah, I'd entirely agree. I mean, West Brom have only lost one of their last 7 games with Spurs. They seem to be a bit of a bogey team for them. West Brom's away record so far this season has been pretty good. They lie 7th in the away record table. They only lost 1-0 to Arsenal and 1-0 to Chelsea, and only lost 2-1 to Liverpool. And no team has beaten them by more than once since April, and that was Arsenal. There's no major absentees for either team either, so I think I'd be, forget the 1-3 for me anyway, I'll be backing Tottenham in the winning margin market at 23-10 to win by 1. That makes most appeal. Also, Harry Kane and Dele Alli to score first. Dutch is around 23-20. They've scored like 50% of Tottenham's goals this season so far in the Prem.
Mark?
Yeah, I like Tottenham to win by 1 goal. 3 of the last 4 at White Hart Lane between these two teams have finished 1-1. So the West Brom have, like Ed said, have become a tricky team. I mean, everybody says Spurs lost the league against Chelsea last season. It was actually the draw with West Brom that really killed them on that Monday night when, for sort of 45 minutes, looked like it was going to be a cricket score. West Brom hung in there and then got a set-piece goal. I just agree with everything Ed said, really, about the 1-goal victory. West Brom are very good at protecting themselves and not getting hammered in these games. I think that Spurs will have the quality to eventually break them down, but it may it's going to need a lot of patience to do so.
What do you think, James?
Yeah, very similar lines to the boys, really. West Brom 8th in the table, but I think that the pertinent fact is that they've taken 1 point from a possible 21 against the teams above them. So there is that gulf between the teams above them, and they've scored 2 goals in those games, both from Gareth McCauley. So that's possibly another telling fact. So I was looking at Tottenham 1-0, draw at half-time, Tottenham full-time double result. As Ed mentioned, the Baggies lost 1-0 at Chelsea and at Arsenal. Both of those were late goals. So yeah, that's the kind of plan of attack for me.
Right, quick. They played for both clubs.
Chadley?
Nasser Chadley?
Was Garth Crooks? Was he West Brom? Or have I made that up?
No, Stoke.
Stoke.
Okay. Mark goes
Chadley.
1-0 up. Right, 5:30. Leicester versus Chelsea. The reigning champions v the team that are most likely to be the next champions. And Paddy Power bet as follows, Ed.
So Leicester are 9-2, the draw is 3-1, and Chelsea are 8-13.
We'll stick with you, Ed. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, so again, Leicester, I suppose Leicester have had a poor start to the season definitely by last year's standards, but but they've actually only lost 2 of their 10 home games this season. They were to West Brom and Everton. Obviously, they're missing big players this weekend with the African nations, Slimani Mahrez and Armati's gone too. I mean, Chelsea have only dropped points away from home to Swansea, Arsenal and Spurs. Alonso's a doubt for them. I think Chelsea will win, but I think the price looks a little bit short to me. I prefer to Dutch, Costa and Eden Hazard first goal scorer, and that comes out about 23-20. They've scored 54% of Chelsea's Premier League goals this season, and given the fact that Leicester lack a lot of firepower this weekend, they're a short price to score first, obviously. Anyway, the only one thing I would mention as well is I guess Vardy or Musa, one of the two, if not both, will play, and you can get them Vardy at 3-1 anytime and Musa at 7-2 anytime, and I think they're decent enough prices.
You like them? Are Chelsea affected by the African nations? Moses, obviously Nigerian, they didn't qualify.
No, they didn't qualify. No, they've lucked out really from that point. Maybe it's just good planning, really. To not buy African players always amazes me when sort of these managers suddenly realise 2 weeks before the tournament started that was scheduled for 2 years ago that they're going to be hampered by the fact they've got this tournament. I quite like Chelsea to just go back to the Tottenham game again. I quite like Chelsea to win by 1 goal. It's something
happens a lot, doesn't it?
It's something I've mentioned on on this podcast quite a lot. And I mean, Conte is just I don't want to go down the cliche route, but having sort of managed in Serie A, he's quite comfortable with a 1-goal victory. And if they are winning quite late on, he's not. I don't care what he said. He moaned at them for not getting the killer goal against Sunderland. He doesn't care. He makes defensive substitutions. The team looks to kill the game. They're very good and very experienced at doing it. And I think that's the best way to back Chelsea. I mean, it's almost a bit like when Mourinho had them. And I don't feel like the markets have quite reacted enough to these sort of narrow Chelsea wins. I mean, I think Leicester will make it difficult, but they are missing the real creativity in their team in Mahrez. And Chelsea, with a formation that suits them well, I can see them getting another 1-0.
Ed, is that a market that just gets spewed out based on the basic win draw win odds and doesn't get tweaked based on recent history?
Yeah, it's derived from that and the over-unders lines as well. Like, but yeah, it does look a little big to me as well. I mean, it's 12-5 there, Chelsea to win by 1. But yeah, I mean that would be reflected in the over-unders price too. Like, you know.
I suppose Leicester are a team that, I mean, that the crazy game against Manchester City, and they maybe do get sucked into different types of games sometimes. They like to play counter-attack, and I don't think Chelsea are going to allow them the space, say, that Manchester City did. That's for sure.
What do you think, James Milton?
Yeah, I'm all over Costa in this one. I think he's kind of 5 to 6 to score at any time, which a bigger price than Chelsea are to win the game. I think that's a really good bet. 11 to 4 to score first. Just looking at his impact away from home, Chelsea have won 7 away games in the league. He's scored in 6 of them. Got both goals in the 2-2 draw at Swansea as well. So he really does kind of come alive away from home. I think Leicester's home form is okay, but only compared to their woeful away form, missing so many big players. I think Chelsea will win it, but yeah, I think Costa's probably the better value than just the match betting price.
Okay, let's get the best bet of Saturday.
This will not be beaten.
I'll go first. I found it absolutely impossible this week. I think it's the hardest set of fixtures I can remember in absolutely ages. I'm going to go with Bournemouth. I'm still annoyed with Eddie Howe for chucking away a chance in the Cup last week, but he'll have his A team back. At least they'll be rested, and I think they will beat Hull City. Mark?
Yeah, I was going to put Bournemouth down. I'm going to chuck another one out there, Bruce. I'm going to go Senegal to win the Africa Cup of Nations. Is that allowed? Or
No, it's better the weekend.
Okay, better the weekend. I like Bournemouth as well at Hull. I mean, Hull... I don't think they're going to be any worse for having Marco Silva as manager, but I mean he's picked up more injuries in the week. 2 went off at Old Trafford. They've had that hard game as well at Old Trafford. I think it's going to be a difficult game against Bournemouth's proper team, which didn't get a chance at Millwall.
We should have conferred on this, shouldn't we? We're in banging trouble if James says Bournemouth as well. Or
He
Hull.
hasn't. No, I have. We have discussed.
Oh,
We've
okay.
got,
You don't care what I say, no. Right, go on then, James.
I'm going for Cardiff draw no bet at Bristol City in the Championship.
They've gone cold, Bristol City, haven't they?
They've lost 8 of their last 9 in the league, and the other thing to note about that run, they're conceding so many crucial late goals, and which must kind of deflate the squad. And Cardiff are looking pretty solid under Neil Warnock. Lost 4 of their last 13, but 2 of those were away at Newcastle and Villa. So. Fair enough. I think they've got a good chance. Just a bit of public service broadcasting. This is a midday kickoff, so get your bets on early.
Bruce, if people do like to do the ACCAs, obviously you've gone for Bournemouth. I'm going to go for a different one, actually. I'm going to go Middlesbrough to win at Watford.
I almost did them. That's
I
weird,
I mean, Watford have got a load of injuries, and I think this game will suit a very solid Middlesbrough team that maybe don't create that much.
Draw no bet, or
no, I'm going to go straight win. I think they can get the job done here. I like Middlesbrough. I disagree with James, who slaughtered them earlier on. I like them.
I do too. Bournemouth, Middlesbrough, Cardiff draw no bet, and Ed Quigley.
I'm going to go with Colchester 6-5 away to Newport County. You couldn't have 2 teams with more contrasting form. Colchester have won 7 of their last 8 games, while Newport have lost their last 8 straight. Newport have the worst home record in the division as well. So, I think the 6-5 on the U's looks a cracking bet. That ACCA pays about 33 to 1, by the way,
That's
as well.
not bad, is it?
Just slightly over, actually.
33 to 1 is the same price as the lads getting they played for both clubs out of Colchester and Newport. It's a toughie, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had easier questions.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back with the Sunday games in just a mo.
Get instant access to your winnings with Cashcard Plus, Paddy's brand new card, available to use at ATMs, online or in shops. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gambleware.co.uk.
You are very welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. It's Bruce Millington, Mark Langdon, James Milton and Paddy Powers, Ed Quigley. And we're looking ahead to 2 really mouth-watering Sunday live Premier League offerings. It's Liverpool versus Manchester, kicking off at 1:30, Everton v City, and then at 4 o'clock at Old Trafford, Man U v Liverpool. What a great double bill that is. Let's see if there's any decent bets. We'll start with the Everton game, and we'll start with Paddy Power's latest show of betting.
Yeah, so Everton are 31 to 10, the draw is 11 to 4, and City are 17 to 20.
What's going to happen here, Ed?
Well, I suppose the pressure's, as I mentioned already, like the pressure's cracking up on, or cranking up rather, on Koeman after last week's cup defeat. City have only lost in away games. They've only lost to Liverpool, Spurs, and Leicester this season. You'd forgive them for losing to Liverpool and Spurs. They're Grade A sides. Everton's home form is all over the shop. But they've only kept clean sheets against Stoke, West Ham, and Southampton. And City have only failed to score against Spurs and Liverpool, the 2 games they did lose. So I think City to win and both teams to score 12-5 makes massive appeal here. And that bet's actually clicked in 50% of City's away games. So 12-5 looks big to me there.
Mark?
I think Man City are too big here, Bruce. I mean, they're going off of roughly the same price that Arsenal did, and nobody can tell me that Arsenal are at the same level as Manchester City. I've got Man City, a fair bit better.
Aren't they just a bit hard to read, though? I mean, I was there the other night when they took West Ham apart, but there are some really disappointing performances in among the good ones, aren't there?
They do chuck in the odd stinker, but I mean, they're still. They're not that far behind Chelsea, considering they've been to White Hart Lane, they've been to Anfield already, they've been to Old Trafford. They've got a lot of their hard games out of the way, and I just don't rate Everton. But they beat Southampton, but that was Southampton's 3rd game in 6 days over the New Year period. I just write that one off. The win against Stoke came courtesy of the penalty that went in off the post and then hit the goalkeeper and went in. I mean, against Arsenal, I mean, the Gunners should have been out of sight before they allowed Everton back in. I mean, Koeman said the performance against Liverpool in the first half was the best since he'd been there. They didn't have a shot on target in the game. I mean, they're missing their most important midfielder, Idrissa Gueye, who's at the Africa Cup of Nations.
Will the hippie fill in for him?
Well, he may well do. I mean, they were turned over, weren't they, by Leicester in the FA Cup. I mean, Koeman's come out, he sort of called out the owner and whoever's signing the players that they're not moving quick enough. I mean, they've got a real problem in goal because I don't think Robles or Stecklenburg are good enough to be playing Premier League, and they're up against what's still the best attacking unit in the Premier League. I had City, I can't remember exactly what price I had them because my notes have been left at the desk, but I definitely had them shorter than this to win.
Are you going to be lumping on?
I've got that down as definitely the best Sunday bet. And maybe the best Sunday one for a while, actually. It's been quite tricky recently.
Jolly good. James, what do you think?
Well, yeah, Mark's obviously made his feelings on Everton quite clear. You rightly say that City are a bit hit and miss. I just don't trust either of these sides, really. But I think late goals is the way to go here. I think more goals in the second half could be the one. Everton's last 2 games have been 0-0 at half-time, and then both produced 3 goals in the second half.
Small sample there. Pauline wouldn't have that at all.
But their last 7 Premier League games have all featured a goal in the last 5 minutes.
Oh wow!
So whatever way the game goes, you can see kind of City pushing on if it's tight, or if Everton are pushing for an equaliser, then City can hit them on the break. I don't like either of these sides from a betting perspective, but that could be the way to go.
You know what the market thinks of Everton, the fact that they drifted against Hull a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they opened up about 10-11, went off about 11-10, I think, maybe even a bit bigger. So I'd be surprised if there wasn't money for City come Sunday morning.
Right, get your bets on early then. Okay, Man United versus Liverpool, one of these showpiece occasions in English, nay, world club football. And how do Paddy Power bet, Ed Quigley?
Yeah, so United are 6-5, the draw is 23-10, and Liverpool are 5-2.
We'll stick with you for a verdict, Ed.
Yeah, I didn't see the game now last night, but I read that Liverpool were pretty poor last night. Karius kept them in the game, surprisingly. I think they'll be doing everything to get Joel Matip fit for this game, because I heard Clavin was pretty poor last night. I really fancy United here. I mean, 6-5 obviously kind of Liverpool, and I think if the season started like say 5 or 6 weeks ago, that United would be rated better than Liverpool now. Like I just think they're really starting to click. Mourinho does know what his best team is now. They're gelling, as I say, and I thought they were, even like going back a few weeks ago, I thought they were unlucky to only get a point against Arsenal. I thought they should have probably got a point against City as well when they were at home earlier on in the City. I also think that Mane is a far bigger blow to Liverpool than Bailey's absence is to United. Yeah, I'll be United straight up at 6-5 here.
What were you doing last night that was so so important you missed that match, Ed?
I was trying to get back from England with the high winds.
That's right. Yeah, you had a bit of a flight from hell, didn't you? You were supposed to land in Leeds and ended up in Liverpool, didn't you?
Ended up in Liverpool, yeah, trying to get to Halifax. It wasn't ideal. I've got a fear of flying now anyway from Ryanair.
Oh, the new Dennis O. Bergkamp. Mark, will Liverpool be flying high here, or will Man U continue their steady progress?
I think that the team news is absolutely massive in this game. I mean, Matip, I know you're not a fan of Henderson, but he's the captain of the team, and the midfield seems to function better when he's in it. And Coutinho, is he fully fit? Probably not. I mean, if they're missing those three players again, I would say Manchester United have to be the selection, because although Liverpool are second in the Premier League, they wouldn't be second if there was no Mane, Coutinho, Henderson or Joel Matip. So I don't think you can look at the league table necessarily, because it would look completely different had they had those four players not been available. I
might come out with your least favourite expected. The league table doesn't lie, Mark.
Well, I mean, I think Liverpool are justified in where they are in the table, but they just wouldn't be there if they wouldn't if some of those players have been missing for more of the season.
They got no chance winning the league, have they, Liverpool?
I wouldn't say no chance, because I'm not mad on Chelsea. I think Chelsea are still, mentioned it the other week, I still think they're a bit short. I can see the others coming back into them, and I mean, can you rule out United?
No, you can't.
I don't think you can.
I've backed United and Tottenham at massive prices.
I just think that I agree with what Ed says, really, that this is a game where your home advantage could be quite important for United, who've got a very, very strong record against Liverpool, particularly in the Premier League at Old Trafford. So, I'll go for a home win, although I'd be more confident if Liverpool are missing their best players, as seems likely.
Is it possible that if the team news comes as you'd like, you might be doubling up your winnings on City with United, or would you just leave a small chip on the table?
I fully expect City to win, it would just be a small chip. The difference in scale of the two fancies is quite vast.
Okay, James, what's your big match verdict?
Yeah, I'm going for United in this one as well. I think they've won 12 of their last 15 in all competitions, and the three that they haven't were the draws against Arsenal that Ed mentioned. They battered Arsenal.
They were ridiculously unlucky.
Conceded late at Everton, and West Ham as well drew 1-1 and had plenty of chances to win the game. So I think they really are kind of starting to purr now. And suddenly, they look quite uninspired in the early weeks of Mourinho's reign. Suddenly they've got all sorts of options in midfield and going forward. And I think, as Mark's mentioned, Liverpool potential absentees are crucial. And just the last couple of weeks for Liverpool, they had the 2-2 draw at Sunderland, Defoe scoring 2 penalties. Then obviously the much changed team in the FA Cup, drew at home to Plymouth, and then outplayed by Southampton in the League Cup. And none of those results in isolation are disastrous, but it's just that sense that they've gone off the boil a little bit.
I would say they beat City. I mean, they were pretty good defensively, weren't they, when they beat Man City? I don't think City put in a great performance, but that would, just to give Liverpool supporters and backers some hope. I mean, I thought that was their best defensive performance of the season when they deservedly beat City, I thought.
Okay, give us a quick blast of Premier League betting before we go, Ed.
So Chelsea are 8-11, Liverpool 5-1, City 7-1, Tottenham 12s, Arsenal 14s, United 16s, and the rest don't matter.
Okay, weekend plans, Ed? Will you be able to watch all the games on Sunday?
I will be able to watch all the games because I'm working. So yeah, that's my weekend plans pretty much. I'll be working and punting. That'll be my weekend anyway.
Will you be having a first scorer multiple?
I might do, yeah. I'd definitely be backing some of those ones I mentioned there earlier, like Hazard and Costa, Dutch and all that. Yeah, I know I will, and there'll be a few in Europe as well, hopefully.
Excellent. Mark, what have you got lined up?
Saturday, taking the wife out for a rare treat. I'll give it a mention. You never know, might get a better table. Pasha in Braintree, very nice Turkish restaurant with a cocktail bar. Frank Bruno recently celebrated his birthday there. So.
Is there a picture of him on the wall with his arm around the proprietor?
It's
alongside one of Kenny Lynch.
It's not on the wall anymore, is it? Because they can just get it out on Instagram and Twitter. So, I mean, you got Ray Parler sort of giving the thumbs up and stuff like that. And then Sunday, sports editor, and then in for TalkSport as well in the evening. So very busy.
That's a long day, isn't it?
That is a long day after.
You might actually get a result there, because Brendan Duke, who does the racing postcasts, he mentioned that it was taking a girl on a date
I remember
last
the
Friday.
chef. Was that the chef or was that a different one?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the date went completely tits up. But the good news was that the proprietor of the restaurant had heard the postcast and sent a bottle of champagne over.
Lovely.
So where are you going again?
Pasha in Braintree, Essex.
And it's got a very good reputation, apparently.
It has, yeah. Recommended to me by one of the Racing Post's sort of most prominent Essex figures in the restaurant scene. Damien Mears on the advertising team. He knows all the good places.
James, have you got any baby equipment that's defective at the moment, needs replacing? Do you want to give Mother Care a quick glance?
I did have some issues with the brakes on my daughter's buggy the other day, but I think I've rectified it. I think it was just leaf related.
She's out of hospital now. Actually. And what have you got lined up for the weekend?
I'm working on Saturday, and then I'll be frolicking in Dulwich Park on Sunday, weather permitting, with my daughter.
That'd be building a snowman, I think, by the sound of the weather.
It's not good, is it? OK, gang, thank you very much indeed for your input. Thank you very much for listening, stroke watching. If you like our shows, don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. And we'll be back next week when we've got another mouth-watering Premier League game to preview, which is Manchester City versus Tottenham.
The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power, the place to bet on football in play with a huge special every weekend.